So a few weeks after the Indianapolis Colts were upset in an embarrassing fashion by the Jacksonville Jaguars to miss the NFL playoffs while watching all the other teams have all the fun, it is time to go over the roster. It is time to look over what needs to be changed, what will happen, what might happen, what will the Colts do this offseason. I don't know. But if we go through it here, might get some ideas. There are definitely some possibilities that happen this offseason. So let's get into it. I'd like to welcome you to the JDW Sports Talk Show, where every fan is welcome. And today we're going to be going over the Colts roster. You know, I'm going to give you my thoughts on every single player, every single position, what might need to be done. So it's basically like a roster a deep dive of the Colts roster. So let's get into it. We're going to start with the most important position in the NFL, where every team's success starts with. Most teams. Carson Wentz, the quarterback. let's just say it was an up and down season. Big time. Beginning of the season, struggled, get it. New players, gotta learn scheme. You were hurt for all training camp, I get it. Okay, you struggled. Middle of the season, you show a lot of promise. You were decent. I'm not gonna say you were great like many people would say that you were solid, because you weren't. Honestly, you weren't. There were so many times where you overthrew a guy, missed a check down, overthrew big opportunities, like early in the game, in the Buccaneers game, right? Mid-season right there. Just about getting into the end season. You overthrow Michael. No. The Patriots game it was. You overthrow Michael Pittman Jr. the first play of the game. You overthrow him on a big play. Which could have been a big play. That I thought was going to come back to bite us. Like it has all season, stuff like that. You miss the checkdowns, you overthrow him, you throw it behind him. You can't put it in front of him. You can't put the ball in front of a wide receiver. It makes it very hard for a receiver to go and just go. It makes it very difficult for a receiver to be great after the catch. You put the ball behind him, takes momentum away. Put the ball high, takes momentum away. Unless you're Michael Pittman Jr., you struggle to catch a lot of those high passes that Carson Wentz typically throws, the passes that sail. That's why Michael Pittman had such a great year, because he could catch it wherever. He could catch it if Wentz overthrows it a tad bit. He could catch it if Wentz underthrows it and he has some moss 2 or 3 people. He's done it multiple times throughout the year. Now, I would usually say, if the receiver always has to go up like that, the route running is not very good. Well, when you go back and watch the tape, his route running is fine. And he's not slow. He's very fast. Some people think he's slow. He is not slow. Wentz just can't put on the money. Wentz just doesn't give him a chance to run after the catch. Wentz just struggles to get it to him. So yeah, that's it with Wentz. And he's a struggle in the locker room as well. It is very evident. I've never ever seen this team give up like the way they did at the end of that game versus Jacksonville. Darius Leonard was walking off the field before the extra points were kicked. Players just didn't seem them. No one seemed like themselves. Carson Wentz, I need to do better. Ooh, I need to fix that. I need to limit the turnovers. How many times did we hear that in Philly? Did it change? No. He is still the same quarterback. He is no different. He has an amazing offensive line. He has a great running back. Wide receivers could be a little better. Carson Wentz doesn't help them at all. Wentz, I don't want him next year, but we're kind of forced to deal with him because we have a $28 million in cap unless someone is crazy enough to come in and trade for Carson Wentz. Someone is crazy enough to come in and give the Colts a 4th-round pick for Carson Wentz. Please take him. I'm not gonna decline that ever. Take Wentz, take the disgusting contract, and let's just move on. That's it with Wentz. The rest of the video is going to be, we're not going to spend that much time on a player, but starting guy, most boring guy, going to spend some time. So Sam Allenger, he's a guy out of Texas. His mentality is great. He could run the ball a little bit, not much. His attitude is amazing. Arm, not NFL caliber. That's the thing with Sam Allenger. He just doesn't have the NFL arm. Yeah, Sam Allenger isn't really your guy moving forward either. So whether it's Wentz or not, you're gonna have to go out of the organization. Maybe draft a guy later on. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Because remember, we do not have the first pick. We do not have the first round pick we gave to the Eagles for. Yeah. Carson Wentz. So then we go to the wide receiver group, quarterbacks, playmakers. They were okay. Nothing special. They weren't terrible. They weren't great. They were okay. They were mediocre. Nothing to go crazy about. Outside of Michael Pittman Jr., there was not one guy that had consistent play at all. Michael Pittman Jr. did amazing for what he had to work with. Overthrows, the double coverage, mossing people, making these insane circus catches. And if you're a wide receiver catching for Carson Wentz, you need to make those circus catches a lot. And that's not a way to sustain success. But Michael Pittman Jr., he is awesome. So happy we had him this year. He was amazing. Played great. Um, route running is very good. You finally have the chance to have some of those jump balls. Maybe a little too much, but he made most of them. He made most of them count. So I'm really happy to see Pittman and what he's going to do here moving forward. And then you go to the rest of the guys. T.Y. Hilton, he's past his prime. He's not as fast as he was. Injury prone. I love the guy. He's one of my favorite players of all time. But when it's time to move on, it's time to move on. He's kind of taking up a roster spot. I hate to say it like that, but he struggles to stay healthy. He doesn't play special teams. He's not the deep threat he once was. He is so smart and clutch. So I take back what I said. I think Hilton and also his locker room presence is priceless. It's priceless. So yeah, it kind of stinks that he's really coming to an end here, but it's football, you know. So it may be time to move on. If he retires, well, it sucks. It really does. If he doesn't, we'll take him back. Take him back. Come on, we will definitely take his leadership. Such a smart player in the field. He will score a few touchdowns a year. Get a nice amount of yards if he's healthy. Love Ty. He is an awesome dude. Good player. Not what he once was, but he can still get it done. And then you have Zach Pascal. You have your Ashton Dolans. Who else? Who else? Who else? Mike Strand. Didn't really play. Des Patman. I want to see more of him. I think he's earned some playing time. When you make a game-winning catch on Christmas Day, on a primetime national televised game, when you make a clutch catch like that in the back of the end zone, you deserve more playing time. You deserve a shot. So I would definitely like to see Des Patman get more shots. I like to see him get a little more playing time. I think Zach Pascal needs to go. Get me wrong. He is a solid receiver, solid depth receiver. And he is a good special teams receiver, so keep that in mind. That could be a reason why Chris Ballard brings him back. But you have Ashton Dolan. You have a lot of other guys who can play special teams. And you can find someone else in the draft, late rounds. Ballard, right, amazing at that. So I think you let Pascal, I think you let him walk. Um, like I said, I like him, but it's time to move on. And then you have Ashton Dolan, good deep threat, inconsistent. He's a guy who has some chances sometime. And he definitely made some of it. But at the end of the day, he is a special teams guy. He isn't consistent. We need a guy that can consistently take the top off. And then you go to Paris Campbell. Love Paris Campbell. He can't stay healthy. He can't stay healthy. That's my biggest issue. He is so unknown because he's never healthy. So give him one more year. This is his last year. If he's not healthy, whatever. You got to move on. You can't keep, doing this. Oh, he's healthy 2-3 games a week. 2-3 games a year. Can't do it. You got to move on. There's a time there's a time and a place to move on from that. So yeah, and then we're gonna go to the tight ends and offensive line. So Jack Doyle, right? Amazing, amazing savvy vet. Love Jack Doyle. He is an elite run blocker. He has elite instincts in the run game. He can run. He can catch. He's a route runner. He can make contested catches, and we see him show up in the biggest games. He always shows up in those huge games. Always does. Always. Last year in Buffalo, he was amazing. And in so many of the games this year, he was amazing. He was amazing. And then Mo Cox, I think it's time to move on from him. I think it's time to move on. He is a great run blocker, right? Yeah. Catching, inconsistent. Route running, inconsistent. He is inconsistent across the board except for run blocking. And there are times when Wentz did rarely put the ball in the money for Mo Cox up high. Mo Cox couldn't come down with it. Inconsistent. I like Mo. Time to move on from him as well. Let him go somewhere else. Maybe let someone else try and get him done. But no, we can't. We have to continue moving on. And if Jack Doyle does end up retiring, maybe I consider Mo Cox coming back. But he has nowhere near the presence Jack Doyle has. Then you have Kylan Granson. This guy right here, he is a top breakout candidate for next year, I believe. He is much better at run blocking than you think. Credit to Lawrence Owen, Colts Law, however you know him. He pointed this out to me. He pointed this out to a lot of people. Kylan Granson is a much better run blocker than you think, than we have thought coming out of college. A lot of people didn't think he was going to be that he was a good run blocker, but he is. He's solid. Even though he's 6'1", he's a good run blocker. He has good routes. He's fast. Kylan Granson is a fun tight end option. I think he could definitely be a breakout candidate next year. As we've seen, there were times that he really took over. Not really took over, but he was consistent with his hands. He made some nice plays. Definitely made some nice plays. So I would definitely like to see Granson get more time next year. If Doyle ends up retiring, I mean, I would definitely take Kylan as a starter. Absolutely. Yeah, he was raw, but he's had a full year. He's had a full year. And then towards the end of the season, he played very well. I love to see Kylan Granson get more opportunities. Sit on tight ends. So let's go to offensive line. Let's go with the backups first. So Matt Pryor stepped in a few times. Very good backup. Very good depth there. Chris Reed, he was awesome depth as well. Denny Pinner, great depth. Chris Ballard, stress. The depth for the offensive line was huge. Was a big priority last season. And he got it done. There's times where Chris Ballard knows there's a problem and he addresses it very well, usually. There are things that he struggles with, as everyone does. Cornerbacks, he struggles. Defensive line, wide receivers, he has seemed to struggle with them. Edge rushers, he has struggled with some things. But he really hit home with the offensive line depth. Will Fries didn't get much time, but when he got in, he was okay. Julian Davenport, terrible. No, he was bad. Let him go. He's going. But now let's go to the starters. You have Braden Smith. I love Braden Smith. We love Braden Smith. He struggles to stay healthy at times. There are times where he has missed a few games. We did pay him a lot of money, and he earned it. But we gotta see him continue to play at a high level, and he has when healthy. They have Mark Lewinsky. I think Lowe might be gone after this year. But I don't know. When I get to Eric Fisher, I have a little bit of your proposal that I want you guys to listen to when we get there. Then you have Ryan Kelly, solid center, definitely hard at times. Definitely has his injury issues at times, but Kelly's a decent guy. He's a great run blocker. Struggles in pass protection sometimes though. We'll say that, but he is very smart. Very, very, very smart center. He is the key to that offensive line, getting the communication that it needs because with a quarterback like Wentz, you need to protect well. He holds onto the ball a lot, scrambles around a lot. It's just tough. And Quentin Nelson, was hurt for most of the year, but he's a second year All Pro, but he was very good when he was in. Even though, even in the last game, everyone in that last game struggled. Everyone. Big Q even struggled. So now we go to Eric Fisher, left tackle, right? So what do the Colts do at left tackle? I say you put Nelson there, and I say you keep Chris Reed and Glow, and have Glow play right guard, and have Reed play left guard. Put Nelson at left tackle. But then we would also have to pay Nelson much, much more tackle money instead of guard money. So that's something to think about there. That's that's important. That's the difference between paying him like 20 million a year to maybe 15, 16, 17, maybe 18. I don't really know the market for guards. I'm not great with the market for contracts, but yeah, I just know that tackle money is a lot more. But yeah, I was happy with the offensive line this year. Definitely times where they struggled, but when you have a left tackle that's really struggling, kind of hurts the rest of the offensive line. It just does in a way. It's kind of like a domino effect with the left tackle. So that's offense. Oh no, I don't think I went over the running backs, did I? I don't think so. So Jonathan Taylor, Taylor is an awesome back, elite as we saw this year, MVP candidate. Not much to talk about there. Naheem Hines, you paid the man a 3-year, $18 million contract, and you barely utilized him. Now I get it. You're running with the hot hand, Jonathan Taylor, but we struggle with having guys at the wide receiver position fast and consistent. Naheem Hines could be a consistent receiving threat. Use him more in that sense. We need someone like that. Someone like that. So kind of disappointed with the year that he had. He did struggle this year too at times. So that's fair. So that is a fair argument. Dionne Jackson, I'd keep him. I think Dionne Jackson definitely has talent. I don't remember what game it is, but he's subbed in a game. I think it was a game versus the Jets. He came in. We were up like 45 or something. It was a big margin. Came in. He had a few runs, and I believe he ran for a touchdown. So good for him. Marlon Mack, he's injury prone. He just doesn't want to play in Indy. He's gonna go somewhere else and find a place to play. So now we're gonna go to the defense side of things. So where do we start in defense? Huh. That is a good question. Let's start on the defensive line. That's where it all starts for Chris Ballard, right? Supposedly. So Kwity Paye, Moko Ture, two defensive ends. Sometimes you know you have Al-Quadri Muhammad, Isaac Rochelle. There was someone else that we had, wasn't there? Ben Banagoo. Ben Banagoo. All these guys were, besides Kwity Paye, these guys were wildly inconsistent. Moko Ture didn't get much playing time, but when he had playing time, he shined. He shined. Al-Quadri Muhammad has a game or two where he's very good, then he goes quiet. Isaac Rochelle didn't see much from him. I'm okay with letting him go. Didn't seem like he did much. Deo actually, I think, got a few snaps, and he was okay. But he's gonna be here for a while anyways. I think you put him at defensive tackle maybe. I wouldn't mind that. But and then you go to Ben Banagoo. Hasn't seen much time, but he has been inconsistent as well. But has barely seen time. I truly have belief in Kwity Paye. Kwity Paye was named to the All-Rookie team, to the All-Pro Rookie team. I think Kwity Paye is going to be a solid defensive end for us. Is he going to be a top 10, a top 5 guy? Probably not. He'll get the job done, but we still need a guy that's going to make make offenses have to plan for him. Yeah, they could plan for DeForest easy. Double team him, and they don't have to worry about the rest because the rest are inconsistent. The rest can't get anything done. You need an edge presence. Edge rushers help finish games. When the team's going to that pass rush mentality, those pass rushers pin their ears back and they just rush the quarterback. And they make a difference. That's why we need a guy like that. When we need a guy like Robert Mathis, a guy named Dwight Freeney. it was easy to close out games. Sure, having the sheriff and Peyton Manning helps, but when you have two defensive ends, two all-time, rushers, sure in the heck does help a lot. Because you can't just double team one guy and then, then you have to chip with the tight end still on the other side. It limits an offense. It really does. So Buckner, solid year. Solid year. Not much when he can do when he's doubled and triple teamed all year because the rest of the defensive line can't do much. They're not consistent. Hopefully Quiddy can break out. Hopefully he can to help Buckner. Grover Stewart and Taylor Stallworth, I think you let Taylor Stallworth go. Grover Stewart, he's on the contract. But Stewart is a solid guy. He is a solid option at nose tackle. He's a very good run stopper, but he does have to stay more consistent as well too. This defensive line consistency is the issue. That is by far and away the biggest issue with the defensive line. Then you go to the deep. Oh, we're already on the defense side ball. You go to linebackers, right? Leonard, great linebacker. Love Leonard. Not much to say about him. EJ Speed, when he stepped in versus the Cardinals, EJ Speed made some huge tackles. The Cardinals targeted him, and he did not disappoint. He did not let the Cardinals carve his soul in. EJ Speed had a great game versus the Cardinals. When he got the chance, he was very good. Maybe a guy that fills in for Bobby Okereke if he doesn't find any consistency. Bobby Okereke is an awesome guy sometimes. Once again, inconsistent. Jordan Glasgow, he is a guy that is he is a special teams guy. Okay, not much to say there. Just a special teams guy. Doesn't play linebacker much unless really needed. He's a special team guy. That's what he was mainly brought in for. And then go to Sam linebacker. Leonard of the week. Middle is Bobby, and then Sam, Zaire Franklin, Matthew Adams. Both are solid. Both are okay. They're not crazy. They're not. They're nothing insane, but they get the job done. They're average. Zaire Franklin can rush sometimes. He's a decent guy. He's decent. Matthew Adams is a very good special teams guy. Both of these guys are very good special teams guys as well. Then you go to corner. Corner is tough. Corner is tough. I think corner is not going to be that big of a need that we think it might be. Rakiason this year was a fantastic cornerback, especially down the stretch. He was fantastic. Rakiason impressed me this year. He was one of the most improved players by far, in my opinion. Then you have Isaiah Rodgers, who was a 6th-round pick. He definitely has moments where he struggled, but he was solid. Got 3 picks. He had a solid year. I was very happy with Isaiah Rodgers. And then you come back to the other side. Xavier Rhodes, TJ Carey. Xavier Rhodes is going to be gone. I don't see him coming back. I don't want him back. His injury concerns, I do not want to deal with that. Don't want nothing to do with those injury concerns. TJ Carey, I think TJ Carey will probably be gone. Will probably be back. TJ Carey, solid depth piece, was injured most of the year. I can see Carey coming back again. So yeah. And then you go to the nickel. Kenny Moore got carved. He got carved against Jacksonville. Marvin Jones and Trevor Lawrence shredded him. It was bad. It was bad. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it was. But that was bad. That was bad. Now, the defensive line doesn't help when you have to cover for 3 years, but Kenny Moore had a bad game. I want to see him bounce back. A lot of our players that were paid struggled in the most important times. Right? Tough. But he's a starter at nickel. He's a great nickel. But he did have a bad game. He needs to bounce back next year after that. I know he's an all-pro. Still going to have to bounce back from that. Andrew Sadejo, let him go. Don't want him. I love the fact that he's not scared to go in and deliver a big hit. I love that. I love that old school mentality. Love it. But dude, he's gonna take concussions, and he has had concussions with that. You're gonna take him if you're gonna go for hits like that. But he just he takes poor angles. He's not very good in the pass game. Just not a fan of Sandejo. I love the fact that he goes for hard hits, but he is not the guy right now. He is not the guy at strong safety. We're gonna have Curry Willis there anyways. We are gonna have Julian Blackman at free safety, and then have um, Curry Willis at strong. I think that is an awesome safety duo. Jaleel Adai, I think he's a solid depth piece. He stepped in versus the Cardinals. He has a solid game versus the Cardinals. He did. And then you go to George Odom, backup, played very well. He played out of his mind when he got the chances. I want to see him go somewhere and do very good because this is not a spot for him. Because he wants to be a starter. Last offseason, he made that clear. He wants to go out and be a starter in this league. He has the talent to do so. He has the talent. So, yeah, that is the Colts roster. This Colts roster is okay, but in the most important spots, you go to quarterback, you go to tackle, and you go to edge rush. Probably the three most valuable positions that you can be your best at. If you have quarterback right, if you have edge rusher, quarterback, and tackle right, you don't need to have much else right. You don't need to have anything else right. Edge rushers are gonna help the defensive backs, and then it helps with linebackers as well. Tackle helps to protect the quarterback from his blind side. And what else? What quarterback? If you have time, you don't have to worry about that blind side. Those playmakers have time to get open, right? So if you have quarterback alone, right, it's gonna be big. If you have your franchise guy, as we see with the Bengals, if you have your franchise guy like Burrow, there's not much else that you need to be right. You could afford to have a few positions that struggle. But when you have a quarterback that's struggling, when you have a quarterback that struggles to make the simple throws, to do the simple things, the rest of the team better be pretty damn good. And it's still a long shot because as we saw, the Colts team was solid. Although they weren't consistent. The quarterback didn't help. So that's all I got for you guys in this video. This was a longer video, but we went through the whole roster. I gave you my opinion on every player, and it's just crazy. It's just crazy, having to go through the same process every offseason. New quarterback is not necessarily garbage. Phil Rivers was solid. I think we would have went further with Phil Rivers and Carson Wentz, honestly. So there's a lot that needs to be done. There's a lot that needs to be done in one offseason. This team is built to win now. We can't waste time. We can't. Literally can't. Well, with Wentz, we're kind of screwed. $28 million due this year, and then he still has 2 years left on his deal. Owed a lot those years. It's tough. It is terrible. But that's going to be it for this, for this video, for this show. Thank you for tuning in to the JDW Sports Talk Show, where every fan is welcome. Hope you all had a great day. Hope you all enjoyed this video. And I hope you all have a great night. I'll see you later. And this is JDW Sports Talk Show, signing off.